48,000 plus miles of interstate highways built before GPS, before computers, before lasers. Somewhere in America, there is a cut through solid rock hundreds of feet deep. No river created it. No glacier carved it. No natural force shaped it. Men and machines did, and there are thousands more just like it. Stretching across deserts, mountains, forests, swamps, and cities is a highway network so vast that most Americans use it without ever thinking about how it was built. Today, the interstate highway system stretches more than 48,000 miles across the United States. It connects every major region of the country. It carries millions of vehicles every day. It serves as the backbone of American commerce. But there's something remarkable about how it was built. The men who built it had no GPS, no drones, no satellite imagery, no computerized machine controls, no digital terrain models, and yet they constructed one of the largest engineering projects in human history. This is the story of how America built tens of thousands of miles of highways without modern equipment and the machines that made it possible. Post-war America. More cars, more people, more traffic. In 1956, the United States was already the most powerful nation on Earth. It had emerged from World War II as an economic giant. Millions of Americans were buying homes. Millions more were purchasing automobiles. Suburbs were expanding rapidly. But America's roads belonged to another era. Outside major cities, much of the country's highway network consisted of narrow two-lane roads. Traffic congestion was growing. Accidents were common. Long-distance travel was slow. Moving goods across the country was inefficient. And during the Cold War, national defense planners saw another problem. If a military emergency occurred, America lacked a modern road network capable of moving troops and equipment quickly across the continent. One man understood this better than anyone, Dwight Eisenhower. In 1919, a young Army officer named Dwight Eisenhower participated in the U.S. Army's transcontinental motor convoy. The journey crossed the country from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco. It took 62 days. Roads turned to mud, vehicles broke down, bridges failed, progress was painfully slow. The experience stayed with him for decades. Then, during World War II, Eisenhower saw something different. Germany's Autobahn network, wide, modern, efficient, designed for rapid movement across an entire nation. When Eisenhower became president of the United States, he wanted America to have something even larger. June 29, 1956, Federal Aid Highway Asset. On June 29, 1956, President Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act into law. The legislation authorized the construction of approximately 41,000 miles of interstate highways. The federal government would fund 90% of construction costs. States would contribute the remaining 10%. The scale was unprecedented. No nation had ever attempted anything comparable. Thousands of miles of highways would have to cross mountains, rivers, deserts, forests, and densely populated cities. The challenge wasn't simply building roads, the challenge was reshaping the landscape itself. Before a single mile of pavement could be laid, enormous quantities of earth had to be moved. And that meant machines. Lots of machines. Caterpillar bulldozers. The first wave of construction. The first machine to arrive on many interstate construction sites was the bulldozer. Its job was simple: remove whatever stood in the way. Forests, brush, hillsides, rock formations. Entire sections of landscape had to disappear before highway construction could begin. Among the most important machines of the era were heavy bulldozers built by Caterpillar. These machines worked day after day, often in difficult terrain and extreme weather conditions. Their operators cut access roads into remote areas, cleared construction corridors, and prepared terrain for the massive excavation projects that followed. Forests cleared hills. Removed construction corridors created the highways we see today often appear natural. But many sections required enormous changes to the landscape. The bulldozers made those changes possible, yet clearing the land was only the beginning. The real challenge was moving millions of tons of earth. Earth moving on a continental scale. Once construction crews established the route, enormous amounts of material had to be excavated. Entire hills were removed. Valleys were filled. Roadbeds were created where none had existed before. This work depended heavily on two types of machines: scrapers and dump trucks. Scrapers were remarkable machines. Unlike traditional equipment, they could cut soil, collect it, transport it, and deposit it elsewhere in one continuous operation. Manufacturers such as Le Tourneau became famous for developing some of the most productive earth-moving machines of the era. Their equipment transformed large-scale excavation: cut, load, haul, dump. At the same time, fleets of off-highway dump trucks moved material around construction sites. Thousands of loads were hauled every day, hour after hour, week after week, year after year. The scale became difficult to comprehend. Entire landscapes were being reshaped, not by nature, but by machines. No GPS, no drones, no laser guidance. Modern construction relies heavily on digital technology. Surveyors can use satellites, engineers can create detailed 3D terrain models. Heavy equipment can follow computer-generated guidance systems. None of that existed during the interstate era. Engineers relied on traditional surveying techniques. Measurements were made manually. Reference points were established in the field. Road alignments were calculated using mathematics, engineering expertise, and enormous amounts of planning. Then came the graders. These machines refined the roadbed. They established slopes, controlled drainage, created smooth surfaces, and ensured the final roadway followed exact design specifications. Surveyors, engineers, graders. The precision achieved was remarkable. Many interstate segments built decades ago continue carrying traffic today. Barber Green pavers. After excavation, grading, and preparation came the stage everyone recognizes: paving. One of the most important companies in this process was Barber Green. Its paving machines helped transform road construction. These machines could lay continuous ribbons of asphalt with impressive consistency. The key component was the screed. As hot asphalt passed beneath it, the screed helped shape and smooth the surface. The result was a roadway capable of carrying traffic for decades. Asphalt, screed smooth surface. Behind every interstate highway lies an enormous amount of paving work, mile after mile, state after state, year after year. The machines never stopped. 1960s, peak construction. By the 1960s, interstate construction had reached full speed. Projects were active across the country. Thousands of workers participated in the effort. Bulldozers, scrapers, graders, compactors, dump trucks, pavers, all working simultaneously on projects stretching from coast to coast. The interstate system became the largest public works project in American history. Every mile required planning, engineering, construction, and countless machine hours. This wasn't simply road construction. It was one of the largest landscape transformation projects ever undertaken by a nation. The interstate changed America. As new interstate segments opened, their impact became obvious. Travel times decreased, freight transportation improved, businesses gained access to larger markets, suburbs expanded farther from city centers, families could live greater distances from where they worked, the trucking industry expanded dramatically, economic activity followed the highways, entire communities grew around interstate interchanges. The interstate highway system didn't simply connect places, it reshaped how Americans lived, worked, traveled, and did business. 1992. System officially complete construction continued for decades. Some sections were easy, others required major bridges, mountain cuts, complex engineering solutions. The final portions took years to complete. In 1992, the interstate highway system was officially declared complete. More than 3 decades had passed since construction began. The original vision had become reality, and the network continued growing beyond its original planned mileage. Today, it exceeds 48,000 miles. The machines are gone. Their work remains. Most of the machines that built the interstate system are gone. Many were worked until they wore out. Others were replaced by newer equipment. A few survive in museums and collections. But their greatest monument was never a machine. It was the road itself. The next time you drive an interstate highway, look around. Look at the cuts through hillsides. Look at the massive embankments. Look at the bridges crossing valleys and rivers. Every one of those features exists because someone planned it, someone surveyed it, and a machine built it. The interstate highway system didn't just connect cities, it helped create modern America. And it was built mile by mile, load by load, cut by cut, by machines that reshaped an entire nation. 48,000 plus miles, one of the greatest engineering projects in history. If you enjoy stories about the machines, people, and engineering projects that built the modern world, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because some of the most important machines in history aren't the ones sitting in museums. They're the ones that changed the world and quietly disappeared.